Hi there everybody and welcome back to the Toon Review YouTube channel. My name's Paul. Thank you so much for watching the latest news video. Quite a bit to get through on this video actually. Two wingers are linked with Newcastle United in the summer. One of those players' agents has said that Newcastle United could well be a great destination for his player, and the other one ripped us a new one a few weeks ago. We've also got news on Botman and Joelinton, and of course, Elliot Anderson, who makes his return to St James's Park on Sunday. But I want to start with the main story breaking this morning from TalkSport's Alex Crook. Now, whatever we think of TalkSport, Alex Crook normally, when he does these transfer rumours or players interested in whatever, he's quite close to the mark. He's got some very good contacts within the business. And he's reporting this morning that Newcastle United could well make a summer move for Bournemouth winger Antoine Semenyo. Now, look, this guy is a player who's really impressed me. Whenever we've done commentary on him, me and Billy have always said, oh, he looks a fantastic player. He could really do a good job for us. And he's always stood out. Now, a couple of weeks ago, of course, he ripped us a new one on the left-hand side. He normally plays on the right, but due to Bournemouth's injuries that day, he had to play on the left and still excelled. He was still outstanding. This guy is a huge, huge talent. Now, there is some problems with this potential deal in that he's got 4 years left on his contract. So Bournemouth are in a fantastic position to negotiate whatever they want for this player. I mean, Semenyo himself could turn around and say, I want to leave, fair enough, put a transfer request in. But because there's 4 years left on his deal, they are in poor position to ask what they want. Now, there's no transfer fee mentioned at all in the report. Semenyo himself has 9 goals, 5 assists, 27 appearances this season. So he's kept himself fit. He's kept himself in the goals. His return has been superb. Now, of course, we have Jacob Murphy there on the right-hand side at the moment, but for me, Semenyo is that class above that we're looking for. And yes, we all know that Jacob Murphy has done a wonderful job. He will continue to be a squad member in the next couple of seasons, which is fantastic for him. He's having a really good season this season, but we all know, as much as we like Jacob Murphy, we do need an upgrade on the right-hand side and have done for ages now, haven't we? I mean, how long have we been talking about the right-hand side for Newcastle United needing a serious upgrade? So we definitely need someone to come in and take that mantle. And Semenyo certainly would. He'd be a player that would come into Newcastle United and immediately get that number one spot. And of course, because he's a good utility player, he can play on the left if anything happened, God forbid, Anthony Gordon or Harvey Barnes wasn't playing very well. There's options there to play him on either side, or they could swap wingers during the game and it could cause the opposition all sorts of problems. So for me, Semenyo would be an absolutely superb buy. However, we are also linked with, of course, Bryan Mbeumo at Brentford. Now, Mbeumo does have a valuation, which seems to be around the £50 million mark, but his agent has come out and said this morning that Newcastle United would be a great destination for his player. Now, what I would say is take it with a pinch of salt to start with, because his agent may well be just saying that to open up the race for negotiations to start. For any clubs that are interested in Bryan Mbeumo to start negotiations, to start inquiring about him. Because there's no doubt for me that Mbeumo will leave Brentford at the end of the season. I think he's been a fantastic servant to Brentford, a real talent and a real hero at Brentford. But I think Bryan Mbeumo himself will probably, and the Brentford fans, to be fair, will know that he will take a step up. No disrespect to Brentford, but a bigger club will definitely want him. Some big Premier League teams are interested in him. There's interest around Europe as well. So for me, Mbeumo, again, another player that could come in and be straight in the side and do a job. And Mbeumo, again, can play up front or he can play on the right-hand side. But again, he's that step above Jacob Murphy. So these are two players that have been linked with Newcastle United in many transfer windows, but nothing's ever, well, certainly no trigger is being pulled on any of the deals. And Mbeumo, I think Newcastle have looked at a couple of times, sent scouts to watch him, so there is general interest there. But this Semenyo one interests me because, you know what, I think he's only around 24. He's still got bags and bags of time left. This guy is a real player. And so is Mbeumo. So I'm putting the question out to you guys on this video. Who would you rather sign? If it came down to the two players themselves and nobody else, would you take Mbeumo or would you want Semenyo? I'm intrigued to know what you guys would go for, because I'm totally on the fence with this. I haven't got a clue. Both players have different skill sets to bring. But what they are is, both are very, very exciting footballers to watch. So whoever we got in would be a brilliant, brilliant signing. So do you want somebody who can play on the right wing and take over for a striker if they're injured? Or do you want somebody that can play on both sides? I mean, can you imagine Semenyo and Anthony Gordon swapping over? That would cause all sorts of problems for opposition. But it never works out like that, does it? There could be somebody completely unknown comes into the side in the summer. But Newcastle United, of course, are expected to be very, very busy in the transfer window. They apparently do have money to spend because of not spending in many moons windows now. But we are expected to have money available to bring in some very decent players. So which one would you go for, Semenyo or Mbeumo? Let me know in the comments below. Now, Sven Botman, Keith Downey has been at the training ground yesterday and reported that there was no Sven Botman in training, nor was there any sign of Joelinton. Now, Joelinton is expected to be out a bit longer, but Keith did say that he is expected to be back before the cup final. Let's keep fingers crossed for that, because you never know with Newcastle United injuries, do you? You never know who's going to be there, who's going to be out. You know, Newcastle will say, oh, he's out for a couple of weeks, and it ends up being months. But Botman, for me, is the big disappointment, because I was hoping Botman would be back, because I'm pretty sure if he was, he would be in for Fabian Schär on Sunday. And I genuinely believe that Schär shouldn't play anyway. And I think Emil Kraft should start ahead of Fabian Schär on Sunday. Fabian Schär has been so poor for the majority of this season that nothing in my mind can say how Eddie can look at him and say, yeah, you deserve a starting place. Now, I know that Emil Kraft doesn't have the passing ability of Fabian Schär when Schär's on his game, of course, and the ability to bring the ball out as well as Fabian. But what he will do is he'll put 100% in and not have this sort of lazy attitude that Fabian Schär has had for quite some time now. And the mistakes that Fabian Schär has been making. Whenever we have called upon Emil Kraft to come in at centre-back, he has never let us down. I know he's not the same talent as Fabian Schär, but I genuinely believe that there is a lot of Newcastle fans out there who do think that Emil Kraft should come in for Fabian Schär on Sunday. Because Eddie needs to get ruthless with these players that show these kind of stinking attitudes. Fabian Schär seems to have had one for a long time now. Now, whether it's his age catching up with him, or whether he's out of form, or whether he's just not got the right attitude, Eddie Howe needs to take stance here, kick him up the arse and say, Fabian, you're sitting on the bench on Sunday. You haven't been good enough. Read the riot act to him. Do what you want. If he sulks, he sulks. But at the same time, Emil Kraft has done nothing wrong at centre-back. Yes, Chris Wood is going to be a handful on Sunday, but Emil Kraft's been against a real handful of strikers and done really well. So for me, I think Kraft deserves to start alongside Byrne on Sunday, because it doesn't look like Botman is going to be available. Of course, we'll hear more from Eddie in his press conference tomorrow. We are live at 11:30, by the way, tomorrow morning to discuss all the latest news and the talking points from the press conference. But, you know, I just think it's about time that Schär had the kick up the arse and Kraft got the merit that he deserves and gets a chance to play on Sunday. Is it a risk? Absolutely it is. But if you're going to make a stance to your big players, anything's a risk like that. But Fabian Schär, at the moment, he's a liability. He's a liability. He's made too many mistakes for me recently and deserves to be dropped. But it's a disappointment about Botman, because I was hoping Botman would be fit, to be honest, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen. Now, finally, Elliot Anderson makes his return to St James's Park on Sunday, of course. Newcastle fans were devastated when he was sold. The player himself was devastated when he was sold. He's been speaking to the media in Nottingham regarding the move, and more details have come out from it. He actually turned down a move to Wolves earlier in the month before Newcastle sold him. He turned the move down, and he was then under the impression that Newcastle United would simply brush off any other interest that they had in Elliot Anderson. He was happy at Newcastle. He was settled. He felt like his career was really going somewhere. He was getting opportunities from Eddie Howe, of course. But then came the bombshell and the shock of being told that he was being sold to Nottingham Forest. Now, he's gone on to excel this season. He's won Player of the Month awards at Nottingham Forest. He scored some wonderful goals. But we saw this coming as Newcastle fans. We all saw the talent that Elliot Anderson had. But it's just a shame because you can still tell whenever you read reports about his move from Newcastle to Forest, when he does quote things, you can still, even in the sentences, you can still feel his hurt that he had to leave his boyhood club. You can still feel it in the writing of the report that he's really sad about it. But we have to be careful on Sunday because he will want to prove a point. No doubt about it. When he comes up on Sunday with Forest, they lost the last game. He and the rest of them will want to get back to winning ways. So it's going to be very, very difficult for us. But for Elliot Anderson, a very, very emotional day. Will the manager put him in from the start, or will he, try to hone those emotions back and keep him on the bench? I don't think you can keep a player of his talent on the bench the way he's been playing for Forest. But he will be ready to go, put it that way. But there you go. That is the latest news. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. If you have enjoyed the video, as usual, please give it a thumbs up. It's very important for the channel. And of course, if you're new and you like what you see, come and be part of this amazing community by hitting that subscribe button. It is free to do so. And of course, the notification bell as well, so you never miss an upload or a live show. Now, don't forget to put in the comments below about the Semenyo and Mbeumo situation, and of course, comment on all the news that I brought you today. I do read them all, so I'm intrigued to know what you guys think. But in the meantime, thank you so much for watching, everybody. Take care.